What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Colin. My name is Colin Egglesfield. I am coming at you with 40,000 megawatts from my living room here in Chicago, Illinois. I love coffee, and I love this show because I have the opportunity to invite amazing people who come on here and share their inspiration, their wisdom, their insight about what they overcame in their life to accomplish their dreams and their goals. This show is all about pursuing your dreams and your goals and learning insights, because it is all about gathering all the information we need from the people who have done it. So it's called modeling, and it is all about finding the people out there in your life who have done the things that you want to do in life or are currently doing them. And you've just much like, as a young actor, I would like to talk to older actors and more experienced actors and find out how did they get it, what the audition process was like, what's it like to talk to agents and managers. And once I started to get into real estate, I started finding mentors in the real estate game. And my guest tonight is an amazing individual because he's multi-talented, multifaceted. Not only did he, well, I wouldn't say star, but he was in the movie Christmas Witness with me just a few months ago. So he's starting to get into acting himself. But he comes from a real estate background himself. He's also a father and a coach, and he has written a book called The 2-Hour Difference. And as I've gotten to know this guest over the past couple of years, the more I get to know him, the more I just absolutely love this guy, because he cares so much about not just his clients that he works with in the real estate industry as a title agent. And we're going to get all into that and talk a little bit about the real estate world and investing and all that good stuff. But the reason why I wanted to have him come on tonight was because of this book. And this book is all about sharing your insight and wisdom and the importance of spending time with kids, and how the littlest amount of time, meaning even just little as 2 hours, can make a huge difference in a kid's life. And after going down to the south side of Chicago and rehabbing houses down there, what I realized is that there is a huge need for mentorship. There's a lot of people that I've met down there who just, for whatever reason or another, just have not had the kind of mentorship that some of us are fortunate to have in our lives. And I recognize that through my travels and living in New York City, I used to tutor at a youth center called The Door in Lower Manhattan. And these kids would come in from all different boroughs, and I'd help tutor them with their homework and get them ready for the SAT. And you know what? It just makes the biggest difference. Just spending time with kids and knowing that having them know that someone cares about them and that someone makes them feel important. And that's what this book is all about. So without further ado, I want to bring my next guest on here so we can chat all about all this great stuff. So please welcome to the stage, Mr. Dru Wischhover.
Wow.
How you doing, buddy?
40,000 watts coming at you.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, the electricity is flying.
And I'm a
off
movie
my
guy.
face,
Like,
yeah.
I can feel the energy. Like, I'm in a movie now. I'm so hyped up. I got a book. I wrote a book, Colin.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yes. It's
Oh
an
my
amazing
gosh.
experience to actually write
yours is so
a book.
much prettier. Mine's got baseball on it, though.
No, but isn't it like when you first got the copy after it was printed and sent to you, and you opened up the box and you were like, holy shit, I just wrote a book. Right?
I just did this. The awe of this, the excitement. Yeah. I'm writing and I'm hating and I'm going, okay, someday I'm going to love this. It came out. I got, the hardcovers. I signed a few for the kids and said, put these in your box for the grandkids, etc. And what do I like? I'm looking at all these books around there going, that was penned by me. I did that. It is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. And really, like, I think COVID gave me that opportunity to do this because, okay, I'm not going to lie. I was inspired by you because when I first met you, you were like, no, we can't go out to dinner. I got to write a book. I just laughed. I'm going, wait a minute. You don't want to hang? We're going to go write a book? Whatever, dude. Whatever.
Yeah. What are you writing? A coloring book, Colin?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Come on. And then I read your book and I went, oh, no, this is good. No, this is good. I like it. And it touched me. And I said, oh, you know what? I can do that. Right. Yeah. But really you can. And it was awesome. And I started thinking about it. And my wife, Carol, and I started talking, thinking, gee, what am I passionate about? and people and work and the people that I work with and stuff. And I said, man, I've been coaching for 25 plus years. And I said,
Coaching baseball. Right?
Yeah. And I said, but it's not about baseball. It's never been. It's about the life lessons that I've taught. And it's about these kids' lives that I've actually impacted and how I've impacted them. And I just started kind of thinking about what that would look like in book form. So there it is.
And so what was the final, like, what was the impetus where you were like, okay, you know what, the time is now, I'm going to do it? Was it after finishing this book, you were like, oh my God, this is like, I got to now do this. If Colin can write a book, anyone can write a book. So, because I do remember we did have a conversation about after I wrote my book and I introduced you to the publisher who helped me write my book. What was that process like? Because there's a lot of people out there who are listening who have an interest in writing a book. And if you could tell us a little bit about how the process was for you, how long it took to write the book, and what, how many times did you want to give up and jump out of a window?
Well, let's see. We both run marathons. We both thought about what that feels like. I figured writing, I said, I ran a marathon. I need something else to do. I need another challenge. Writing a book is equally aggravating as running a marathon because of it touches so many spots in your heart. It brings back so many wonderful thoughts. And really, like I said before, COVID allowed me this opportunity to do this because I was sitting thinking about just what is that next endeavor and not really knowing anything about it and really reaching out to you and kind of getting a little bit of an insight as to what it's about. And I had no idea, absolutely none going in, what this was going to be like, what the demand was going to be, and really what the emotions were going to be. But in essence, it was great. The experience was great because I got to relive these stories and I got to really take these stories from here that I would probably take with me because I didn't share them with anybody. And I got to put them on paper that transforms into a book that now I can impact somebody. And I know how many kids I've impacted. Now, if I can impact a coach, a mentor, a teacher, a parent, if I can impact a couple of those folks through this reading, I've done it. And it makes me feel great. I mean, I love the game, but I love the message that the game allowed me to kind of convey.
Yeah. And I do want to get into the content of the book, but just while we are on the topic of the actual book writing process, because I know a bunch of people here are curious about that. There are different ways to have a book written. You can you can do it the old fashioned way where you take pen to paper and you sit there like Ernest Hemingway would sit and write 500 words a day.
Yeah.
And Ernest Hemingway had a rule where I got to, when I was down in Cuba doing a photo shoot, I actually got to go where he wrote a lot of his books.
Okay.
He was a big fisherman, and they showed us in his house this little room where he would write. And because he was so disciplined with his writing, and this writing a book, first and foremost, it requires discipline. You have to sit down, you got to make the time to do it. And he had a commitment to himself where every day he would write 500 words. And if he was going to go fishing on one day, he would write 1,000 words the day before. Yeah. So then he could have the day off to then go fishing. So that is one way. The other way is to obviously go on your computer and start typing it out with, having an outline and then filling in the outline. The new way that people are writing books is through all this technology. We can actually dictate
there it is.
our thoughts and insights on a certain topic. And that's essentially how I wrote my book, where Melissa, our publisher, would get on the phone with me and she said, think about 7 things in your life that you could write about as a chapter. And so you think about the biggest parts of our lives. And for me, it was 9/11, my cancer experience. And then every Saturday morning, she would get on the phone with me. And for like 2-3 hours, she would ask me questions and I would answer these questions and talk. She would record that. She would send me the recording in a Google Doc, and it was just like pages and pages and pages. So it was my words. And then I would go in there and I would start editing, rearranging, rewriting. I would get to a place where I'd be like, oh, you know what? I think this place is where I need to start. I need to substantiate my point with maybe some scientific evidence or whatever. So I'd go on Google and type in something and find an article and then bring it in. And so essentially it was my writing, and I would assume that it was similar to you with Melissa. Was that the same process?
Yeah, I think exactly. The process of the recording, I think, was great. Just the talk session was great because, like you said, there were several topics that we would discuss, several high points that we would, highlight. And then what I would do is just speak on the topic, talk about a story or give some content. And then I would get it back in that Google Doc and I would reword some things and move it around, change it up and kind of retool it to be more my speak. And I think that process was a lot easier than sitting down and writing all that's in my head, because I can regurgitate it a lot faster and speak than I can in hand.
Yeah.
And I think that allowed it a little bit more simplicity for me. And then going back and rereading it, it really put it into some context because it made it live. It made it birthed it. It really did. And then when you then you put the puzzle together.
Yeah.
It's literally having some other people read it and then putting this puzzle together, not taking away from what the story is. And you got to be careful, but tell your story and, let your story be heard. Don't change it or don't let it be changed to be in somebody else's voice. It's in yours. And that was something that I was very, very conscious of and not wanting to change, is keeping it in my voice, because that's why I'm working on doing the audio part of this, because it's exciting to voice this. And what's exciting about voicing it is you can put the emphasis where it needs to be. It's hard to read the emphasis, right?
Yes.
Super hard to read the excitement that I portray out on a baseball field. But when I'm speaking it, oh my gosh, it's like I'm there.
Yeah.
So it was a really great idea to have the outline, and it, the time frame of this thing, I think it took me 9 months.
Yep.
So it was 9 months, man. It was every bit of 9 months. There was not any, it was a laborious 9 months. And like you said, you say, well, if I'm going to go out and do something else, I got to put more time in tomorrow because I'm going to be behind because I got a deadline. And I think that's what the publishers helped, was setting these goals and deadlines to move it along, because otherwise it could take you years if you don't have that push of somebody like yourself who's doing it and working on that side of it to say, you got to encourage to completion. And it's a scary thing. I mean, it was scarier as it got to the end, because, do I have everything? Is it all I want to say?
Yeah.
I'm going to miss something.
Yep.
So it's like, no, I'm going to miss something.
Were you on a timeline? Did Melissa have you like, okay, Drew, we got to get this thing done?
Yeah. And then I pushed back a little and said, hey, time out.
Yeah.
This is my story.
Exactly.
Okay? This is mine.
Yeah.
Get off me.
Yes.
But yes. And I'm so graceful for that, though, because it did keep me, I had some boundaries. There was some structure there. And I think that was important to it. So it takes discipline. It's like anything else that you want to, you set out to do, you put your mind to, and, all the inspirational things that you talk about. I mean, all of that plays into this. You've got to have some inner drive to doing this, to succeeding and finishing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the question came up here, and I'm not sure if you can see the comments on the side here, but one of the questions by Elizabeth Krause is this process what is referred to as ghost writing? So Elizabeth, no, this is not ghost writing. Ghost writing is when, so you'll see a lot of celebrities and politicians will have books, and it'll say, Arnold Schwarzenegger with, and then another person's name, where they'll interview Arnold Schwarzenegger and they will take those transcribed recordings, and then that author will actually write what Arnold said. That's ghostwriting, where there's someone else writing the actual book, where this is, we are taking our own words. We are doing the work. If we had transcribed our words onto the page and then someone else were to actually do the editing, the rewriting, that would be ghostwriting. But this, we are essentially starting with our own words on the page. We are reworking the words, putting it together. And then once it was done, I gave that final manuscript to Melissa, my publisher. And then she was like, you know what? Great. We're going to move this chapter to the first part of the book. We're going to move this one over. let's cut this out. And if you could add a little bit more over here.
Right.
So that's essentially the process of what it looked like for myself. And she had me on a timeline where she says the best time to publish books are in the springtime and the fall.
Agree.
And so that people can get the book in the spring and put it on their list for their summer reading list.
Yep.
And we had a time frame. We had a goal of getting my book out and done by March. And, March came, and I think she said, a regular book is about 150 pages. Yep. How many pages is yours?
Like 112, I think. 100. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right. I fit the guy. I listened.
Yeah. My word vomiting thing. I was just like, mine's 290.
You word vomiting? No.
So Melissa was like, yo, I'm like, Melissa, I got a lot to I can't just and this is I don't want to just put a piece of crap out there. So from March and then April, May, and then finally June is when my book finally came out. But like you said, I didn't want to rush it. I knew this is, it's better to push back and say, okay, I want to make sure that this has been edited and reread. Right. And there were still typos when my book got out. That's okay. As long as you get the book out, you can always go in and fix those little typos. And then what do? Upload it up onto Amazon. And so it's available worldwide. There was a question here, Drew, can we get your book in Europe? As long as you have access to
as long as you get on Amazon. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And somebody else had asked about, what is a timeline? What does an outline look like? And really an outline looks like, and I guess that's dependent on what the book is. However, I would say the outline, at least for what I was doing, is, like you had even indicated, 4, 5, 6 chapters, and then some content in it to kind of fill in what that's going to be. So depending on what your topic is and depending on what you're going to write about, you really want to think about what are the high points throughout that you want to tell. What is the story that you want to tell? What is the message you want to get across to the reader to ultimately feel, complete after reading this? And so there is no real outline that is kind of you just kind of go out to the store and go, hey, I got an outline for a book and now I'm going to write. It's yours. You're creating it.
Yeah.
I mean, the outline's got to be yours.
Right. And as an artist, it's like, okay, it's great because you've got free reign, but then also you're like, well, when do I stop? How do I, it's like a painting, like a painter paints and you're like,
when do I stop?
Or do I, and then finally, I had my sister read it and a couple other people, and they're like, okay, you're done. Stop. You're done. Yeah. Like, no more. Just get it out.
Right. Yeah. Right. I did the same. I passed it around to people and they're going, you're done, right? I said, am I? Like, does it stop? Is that good? But no, feeling solid where I left off. And I think the hardest thing, honest to God, and Melissa and I went back for it, the hardest thing for me through the writing process was getting to an end. Because you're getting all these edits and it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back. Where does it end? And now that you've read it after edits, you're going, well, maybe I should move this to this spot. Maybe I want to open with this and I want to change that. And it's amazing how quickly, how much is involved in the whole thinking process. Not only the thinking about what you're writing, but the thinking about where am I going to put stuff to make it make sense? This is awesome. Yeah. I'm going to go run a marathon, Colin. I'm done with books.
Yeah. It's a little easier. But so now I'd like to get into the impetus for writing the book. Obviously, you've got kids yourself.
Yeah.
And you've been coaching for 25 years baseball. What are some things that you would like to tell us about that you write about in the book without giving too much away? Because everyone go and buy the book, of course.
Right.
But what did you discover over your 25 years of coaching that made you want to write this book?
Yeah. So really the whole premise of what I was thinking and where I was at with this thing was winning and losing. There's so much, there's a big difference between winning and succeeding. And I came up against so many coaches, so many teams, so much competition that was their number one. That was their priority. We're going to win. We're going to win. And that's all we're going to do. And I kept looking at this going, you know what? I have a different theory. I'm going to teach, I'm going to mentor, I'm going to mold. We're probably going to do okay because I'm teaching them. And my kids are going to go on to, like employ your kids. Because my kids are gonna, the reality is I'm feeling that it was more important to me to give these kids life lessons than it was about a trophy or winning and losing. And I never made it about that. It was always important for me to teach parents and coaches and other people who are looking, and I just used baseball as my tool to communicate my mentorship of, the young adult and how impressionable they are. I tell so many stories about actual lessons that have happened to me with, kids and how I've turned them around with just how you talk to them and how you treat them. All they want to do is be heard. They want to be recognized. So many parents intervene with my kid's a D1 baseball player and he's going to go to, he's going to go to a D1 school and he's going to start. And I went, your kid's a swimmer. He shouldn't even be on the field. I'll happily tell him that. And you know what? Why don't you do the same thing? Talk to the kids. Yeah. Because Johnny is very, very happy sitting on the bench, being part of a winning team and learning some life lessons, but he doesn't want to be put in that pressure situation. So when you force him into that pressure situation, now you've embarrassed him. Now he's going to fail. Now he's going to, all of these negative things happen. Well, no, I'm going to continue working with Johnny. I'm going to continue modeling him and molding him and put him in a situation that I can recognize where he's going to succeed and it's going to make a difference in his life. And he's going to remember that. I have been to 2 high school graduations for valedictorians that were out my baseball team that they invited me to come. And at both of them, they mentioned me at the impact that I made in their life with telling them that life's hard. And if you quit, you're going to be quitting the rest of your life. You're going to, you can't give up. Mm-hmm. He said, high school was super hard for me. And your words resonated in my ears saying that if I quit, this is I'm giving up and I'm not going to succeed in finishing high school. And here he is, the valedictorian. And it's just those messages. Mm-hmm. My goal always was to teach the kids the game and get them to the next level. I didn't care about wins and losses. I wrote a book that I don't care if it sells. It's not about the revenues and things. It's about the messages that are in here for people to and take to their own neighborhoods. Heck, you could take it to your own kids. And there's things in here that you can just have conversations about and learn what is the difference between a good coach and a bad coach. We've all seen them. That coach that's yelling and screaming and just all over the kids. Is that a good coach? Is that a bad coach? I mean, opinions are everywhere.
Yeah, it's been crazy to see how advanced little league sports has become. My brother has 2 little boys and a little girl, ages 6, 9, and 12. My sister has 4 girls. The 2 oldest are competitive gymnasts. Yeah. And I mean, when we were growing up, it was like you had baseball practice maybe twice a week and then a game on a Saturday.
Right.
And then that was it.
Right.
And then now it's like these little 8-year-old kids are in minor league AAA farm systems where they're traveling all over the country. It's like, it's $1,000 for this tournament. And
incredible.
I mean, it's got to be a ton of stress on parents, as far as coming up with the money to pay for all this stuff and the trips. And then how do you tell little Johnny, no, you can't play on the team because, it's too expensive or whatever. Right. Do you talk about that stuff and about how much is too much for these little kids' bodies?
Yeah. And that's a good point, Colin, because I think that again, that's the parents intervening to living vicariously through the kids and saying, well, I played, so I want you to play. And you know what, to a degree, that's okay. But also listen to them, watch their body language. We were a lot of times doing this over the years. A lot of times you're a glorified babysitter. Mom or dad would drop off the kid. You'd coach them for the hour and a half. They'd come back and pick them up, and you'd never see them at a game. You'd never see them at practices. They would just, they were just dropped off. But then when you talk to the parents, and I was very, very forthcoming with conversations. I got parents together all the time because I literally set the precedent saying, listen, here's how I coach. Here's what I do. It's not about wins and losses. We're gonna teach these kids. We're gonna get them to the next level. We're gonna win some games. There's no doubt, but that's not the priority for me. If I'm not your coach, that's cool. Here's what I'm going to do. And then when we go to tournaments, I'm going to play the players that are, going to get us through this tournament. I'm also going to work with the younger adults that are not. I've had a tremendous success rate with that. Everybody that has been on from 12 to 14, all those kids that I've coached on both my sons' teams, all made their high school baseball teams, and several of them went on to play college ball and beyond. So,
wow.
I mean, it's just the accolades, and that's what I had to recognize before I started writing this book is those things, all those things that I just said, because I never paid attention to that. But that's the reality of the success story that I'm trying to convey is I would never have written this book if I didn't have those stories to tell, and they're in here. I wouldn't have written the book if the things that I did and the input from the other coaches saying, I've never, ever met somebody like you. You're so energetic. You're so fun. But the message that you give to these kids is just, it's dynamic. And these kids just leave with this, yeah, we just got our rear ends kicked, but coach is like, wow, he's a crazy man. I wore shorts and flip-flops to the games. I would run around the field with these kids. I mean, I was so energetic, but inspirational, motivational, so excited to drive these kids to something and challenge them to be better than what they were today. First day of practice, Colin?
Yeah.
Every message, first day of practice, today's the worst you're going to be. Every day from here, you're going to be better. Today is the worst you're going to be. And I get excited just saying that. Like, I want to get out on the field right now and give me a ball.
Yes. I love it.
It's powerful, man.
Today is the worst you're going to be.
Write it down. It's good
yes,
stuff.
I'm writing it down. I saw my sister-in-law, Tammy, is in the chat, and she is the mother of these two amazing boys and amazing daughter. So Tristan, Brennan, and Megan. And she says, yes, all of this stuff is super stressful. And Colleen Rogers says, very expensive. I have 3 in competitive sports. All 3 love it, but it can be very demanding on the parents.
Yes.
And it's great that you actually have the parents, you meet with them and say, okay, this is the expectation. And do you talk with them then about just how your coaching style is and offer them insight before the season starts? And what do you say?
Well, luckily, and one of the benefits is, I've had the tremendous luck of keeping a team for several years as we move forward, replacing 1 or 2 here and there. But at the onset, we would get together, we would talk about Crazy Coach and his ideas and all the tournaments that I want to play and all the places that I want to go and all the exciting things that I'm looking to do. And then we would kind of pull it back to the realities of what we're really going to do. There was one season, and it's, I kid you not, and if I can have some kids on here today to sit by my side and go, yes, you were an idiot. We played 90 baseball games as a travel baseball team at 14 years old. We went to Cooperstown. We came in 3rd place in Cooperstown. We were 72 in 18. We were
90 games in how much time?
4 months.
Okay.
Yes.
4 months, 90 games.
Stupid. But that's me. Because these kids couldn't wait to get to the baseball field because I want to see what ridiculousness was I going to do next. And that was just infectious. Positivity is infectious. Growth is infectious. These kids, and I call them little, but I've had them for 7 or 8 years. I mean, I have them. So the 2 hours, 30 minutes a day, every day. 2 hours is not a lot of time. You practice with them for an hour and a half. You practice with them for an hour at, when we get them together. It's not a lot of time. And the difference that I made and my other coaches in that little bit of time means if you guys can do it out there from just reading some of my ideas and some of the different things, you guys have them all the time. They're your kids or you're mentoring a handful of kids. Try some of these things out. It's like I talk about how to take the kids who are introverts and get that and utilize them to their strengths, finding the strengths of the introverts. Obviously, the extroverts, we know what they do. They want to be out there. You don't have to worry about them. Take care of the upside. The downside, the upside takes care of itself. You got to take care of the down. Yeah. Finding and identifying. And that was something that comes with time and practice, is just identifying the differences amongst all the kids. But baseball is a great tool for me to do it. It's a sport I loved. It's a sport I've played. And really got involved so much to teach it at higher levels. I mean, I coached in high schools, I've coached in colleges, and I've always aspired to do that. I wanted to coach in college, and I said, wow. And then I started seeing the travel baseball leagues getting watered down, and then I started seeing the parents and how their input got really crazy. And I think right now that is probably one of the bigger things that it needs to change, because I mean, running out onto the field and these outbursts and things about, why isn't my son playing? And man, is that the message? Like, and I get it. It's so competitive, and it's trying to get that college scholarship or that money for high school. I get it. But the bigger picture is, look that's the message that you're saying in front of your kids. I'm not saying that message. You're modeling to your kids to be that vocal, loudmouth, obnoxious. And now what is that kid doing? He's embarrassed. All the work that we're doing is just kind of getting crushed. And if I didn't love each one of these kids, if I didn't love what I did, I would never have done it for as long as I did. I mean, after my kids went on to high school and college and were coached by somebody other than me, I continued doing this because I loved it. And I started coaching kids I didn't even know. And that was when it made the difference for me. Coaching my kids, okay, they're mine. I get it. They're friends. I get to know it. But all of a sudden, when you coach somebody else, it's a whole bunch of different kids. It's the coup de grace for me. And having the success stories and still being in touch with these kids and still they're a phone call away. Like I brought these kids back and they've coached with me to some of these other things. Like, I'm involved in their lives. It's such a wonderful feeling. So I get it. I know it's expensive and I know it's gotten out of control, but I'm telling you, there is so much good to be had in this fine little piece of paper that took me, I don't know, forever to write, but I loved it.
What would you do if, or when you did have a kid on your team who wasn't showing much interest in the sport, who just kind of was like, he maybe kind of felt like he was there because his parents wanted him to be there.
Right.
What did you do with a kid like that?
That was literally one of those parent conversations that would have and say, have you talked to Johnny? Like, is he having a good time? And 9 times out of 10, the answer was, oh no, he's having a great time. No, you missed the first question. Have you talked to him? Because the first question is, have you talked to him? Your idea is he's having a great time, right? Mine is, he doesn't really want to be here. He's a swimmer. Yeah. And once we identified this, I have had parents come back and say, you know what, you're right. It's having those hard talks that people don't want to have, because everybody thinks their kid is good at something, and they probably are. But if it's not this one, maybe it's that one. And it's okay. So no, I would really have that conversation sooner than later and say, boy, I don't know if his heart is here. I'm happy to keep working on him and working with him, but maybe you should have a conversation and see what he wants to do. Yeah. And those are the times, and I get it, because a lot of single parents out there today, and the divisions of families, it's tough. And I watched all of that evolve in front of me. And I've seen, again, my favorite story in this book, is I coached inner city kids on a whim. I went into the inner city. One of my buddies got really sick, and he's like, could you help out with coaching this team? Cut to, Drew's got the team for the next 3 years.
Wow.
These kids were used to losing, and they didn't care about anything but that. We changed that, turned that around. The story's in the book. You got to read it. It brings tears to my eyes every time I read it. It is amazing. It's such a moving thing. And it's like, oh, it's a movie, blah, blah, blah. This really happened. These kids will still tell you today how impactful that was. But I tell that piece to tell you that at the end of practices, I would sit on the end of the bench waiting for mom, sister, grandma, who's picking them up. They don't know. Wow. And that was just, so they're not watching the games. They're not watching the practices. I gathered the parents of these inner city schools of kids, and I said, look, they're doing better. They need you. Okay. They've got me already. They need you. Show up. Watch what happens when you show up. Amazing. And I just got
chills.
I got chills saying that.
I'm
right?
getting chills just listening to you say this.
I know, dude. I
want to come out and play for you, coach.
Get out here. I'm inspirational, my man. I am pumping you up. That's what I was a yeller on the field, but never negativity. My son said I was the biggest jerk he's ever had that never was mean. And I went, I don't get that. I don't know. It was incredible. It was incredible.
Now, what do you do for nowadays? It seems like every kid gets a trophy.
Oh, no, don't start me on that. That's in the book.
Okay, because there's I remember when I was working on the client list and I became friends with the writing staff, and I was talking to one of the writers, and she had moved from New York to Los Angeles, and we were just chatting. I was like, oh, because I'd moved from New York to LA as well, and we were just talking about the differences between the two cities, and the topic came up of her son playing baseball, little league in Los Angeles, and she was like, yeah, it's. I do love being out here in LA, but what I don't like is like they give all the kids trophies, and I'm like, no, I want my son to have to earn the trophy.
Yeah, I'm very uncomfortable right now. Showing up. It's chapter 4, Colin.
Okay.
So, yes, in my earlier years of coaching, what I found was to make everything fair. They didn't want to hurt people's feelings. And so then they evolved to, everybody gets a medal, everybody gets a trophy, everybody gets a this or that. And as I kind of went through the negative time of that, I pointed out to my kids that got these participation trophies. And I quickly, kicked down their sandcastle and said, well, we didn't do anything for these. Okay. So yes, you got one. That's great. You can go home and that's wonderful. But we didn't really deserve this. I said, and here's why. In life, not everybody's going to be the president. Not everybody is going to succeed at what they do. I would really rather have you guys leave those trophies on the bench, or maybe politely we'll give them back and give them to somebody else who wants them. I said, because I would like for you guys to walk around and say, I earned something. I worked for this. I want that mentality in your head. I don't want I'll play an inning. I'll get the snow cone at the end. I'll get the hot dog, and I'm going to get a trophy. Whatever. Because that develops complacency. That develops people who they don't push and they don't try, and there's no drive. I'm going to go ahead and challenge you. I'm going to go ahead and push you to your levels of, and I do that with my team here at work. I push them so hard, and they tell me what they can't do by what they don't accomplish at the end of a day. And it's like, oh my God, lay off, dude. And at the end of the day, there's a few things left undone. I'm going, okay, I got your capacity. I know what you're able to do. And now I can work with that. And that's the same thing with challenging these kids. So I'm not a fan of everybody gets a trophy. I get it. I don't get it, but I never taught it. And it was never a kind of a speak that I ever, uttered. I wanted our team to earn, because come on. I mean, you've been in stuff and played organized things. All these other coaches are out there telling you about their records. I asked, okay, who'd you play? Because you played the Girl Scouts. I don't care. If you're 15-0 against the Girl Scouts, way to go. I want my kids at 12 to play 13-year-olds to challenge themselves and push themselves. Yeah, maybe you get your butts kicked, but guess what? You're that much better. You're that much stronger. And I would never shy away from playing up and challenging these kids. And they knew that. They knew I had their back. They knew that we were going to go in and we were going to fight. And maybe we get our rear ends kicked, but there's a fun message at the end of this, and we're going to be okay. And at the end of the day, we're going to be okay.
Might get kicked. You might get your ass kicked by the Girl Scouts. Don't put down the Girl Scouts, Drew. They make some damn good cookies. And I've known some Girl Scouts who are great athletes. So
yes, this is not the Girl Scouts in a negative way. It's kind of more in a, explanation way. I would never want to play the Girl Scouts. A guy of my age playing against Girl Scouts, I wouldn't stand a chance. But, I'm sure today they've gotten a lot better and stronger with a lot of the camps that are out there and things. So for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And the question has come up from a couple of people here regarding kids with special needs. Have you worked with kids with special needs?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And that's how that place in my life is big. We had a church program called God's Special Friends, and I thoroughly enjoyed that with, again, my personality and my just energy and excitement. I just would go in and run around with these kids and be goofy and crazy, and it was a blast. So we just recently did a golf outing with my company, and we gave to the Miracle League of Joliet, like, I don't know, $7,500 for their baseball program. And I started talking to the leaders of what that is, and I'm telling you that I will get back involved in that, because watching and seeing, that's a totally different conversation, because the appreciation, the excitement, you just have to show up. And that's the easiest thing in the world for me to do. I can show up, and I'm gonna put it all into it, man.
Yeah.
And these kids are gonna love it, and we're gonna laugh. And the bond that you develop is permanent.
Yeah.
It's permanent. So I have had a lot of experience with that, and that is touched a little bit in the book as well, because it's a very, very touchy and sensitive place, and not everybody's cut out for that. Not everybody has that moxie to do this, and they get frustrated or they get upset, and that's not what is needed there. I mean, you got to be an open book and just purely love and joy, because I'm telling you, you're going to walk out of there and you're going to feel cloud nine, like the 10th degree, because there's nothing better.
Yeah.
And it is to bring a smile to that kid's face is the best day of my life.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I did a summer camp one summer with this organization that it was specifically for kids with special needs, and it was at a school, and every day we would do some classroom stuff, like do art and some writing and playing games, and then we would go out for recess. Yeah. And some of these kids, were wheelchairs, and this one kid, he was my favorite. His name was Andy, and he had cerebral palsy, so half of the side of his body, he just didn't have the best mobility. Yeah. So we would play kickball. So he would go up at home plate, and then they would roll the ball, and I would kick the ball for him, and then he would walk over to first base, and I would walk with him. And the best thing is, the more that you could just treat them and act as if like they're just like, all right, let's do this. And because I think they see the challenges, and the more that we can just help these kids realize that it's not an obstacle. Maybe it is a challenge, but there are ways to overcome these challenges. And just because you can't do something the way that everyone else can, that doesn't mean you can't do it. And that's really all it requires, is us to just be able to like be these types of mentors to these kids, to be able to just show them what is possible. And it's amazing. And like you said, it's just like, man, just thinking about these kids.
I know.
To this day.
I know. You'll never forget it.
Yeah.
And they never will either. And you know what? Mentoring kids is such a wonderful thing. I mentor through church, and I mentor through, work and doing it through business and things, but really doing it into a level of the special needs. I mean, there is nothing greater than just showing up.
Yeah.
And like you said, not making it about the judging that goes on in the world around them is so huge. I just want to wrap my arms around and just like protect them from all of the idiocy that they are. And it just, I hate it. I love bringing that special smile to that special person. It's so big.
Yeah. It's awesome. Well, your passion is evident, Dru. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I just highly encourage everyone to get out and or just go on Amazon and grab Dru's book, and just they can to the best way to reach you, Dru, through social media. I know you've got 2 different Instagram handles, and we're going to get into your Inspire title.
Yeah, sure.
How can people reach out to you on social media if they have a question?
You can definitely reach me on Facebook. That is definitely a place you can reach me. I am also at Instagram, which is at Papa, Pappa Wish, WISH. That is my Instagram. Facebook, I am Dru, last name same, Wischhover. You can get me there. I love the social media just because I'm using it for work so much. I do a live. You were on. I do a live show on Thursdays through my my work. It's called Title Talk. We talk about the real estate industry and bring on some professionals out there. If there's any professionals that want to be a part of that fun, I'd love to have you out on our show and chat with you as well. But my passion for baseball is my passion for work, is my passion for life. It's like I'm the same guy wherever I am. It's just I'm excitable. I'm energetic. I'm inspirational. I love to, the whole inspired thing. Like just hearing you do that, and then that's my company name. I just was like, and we never even talked about this. This is so crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and of course, like minds. Well,
yes.
Great minds think alike. And when we met, we were introduced through an attorney, a real estate attorney. And then once you told me that the name of your title company, I was like, wait, that's my brand. Like, what? We've got to talk, man. And you absolutely embody everything that I talk about, and I try to push out there, just to, for lack of a better description, inspire people to be their best selves.
That's it.
And so you've been doing title work with Inspired Title for quite a while. And for people out there who don't really know what a title company is, how would you describe what a title company does for people who wouldn't necessarily know what that is?
Yeah. And we are the necessary evil that you need when you're closing on your home, whether you're buying or selling. We are ultimately the company that ensures the title to that property, that everybody and everything has happened in the right way, and everything behind you is safe. Like title insurance is nothing like any other insurance. Where like life insurance and auto insurance, you pay today and every month going forward until you don't own that car anymore, or whereas with title insurance, you pay one time at the time you buy or sell the property, and it covers you from everything that has happened from that day behind you, so that all the transactions that have taken place to that property, buys and sells, have all been done correctly. And there's nobody out there that can kind of claim a right to the property. Meaning if there's somebody that got divorced and there's an ex-wife that goes, well, wait a minute, I didn't know he sold that house. You now owe me money because you're in my house. No, that's where we come in and we rescue you guys, and we protect you from the sinister people like that can get in your way. So I wouldn't say that you are the necessary evil. I would say you are the life preserver in the sea of this crazy real estate world. Sure, the inspirational side of that can be said there. Sure.
Yeah, because I've been doing real estate investing for the past 6 years, and for people who know me, I mean, this is when I first got into it. Yeah, Property Brothers and Flip or Flop, and it looks so easy. Just get a house and get a contractor and like put some new backsplash in there and like make a ton of money. And then started doing it. I was like, holy crap. Like 4 billion million decisions. You've got contractors who don't show up, or if they do show up, they're on drugs, or I had one instance where a contractor threatened a subcontractor with his gun because the subcontractor was asking for his pay because the contractor hadn't paid him for 2 weeks. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff. Neighbors calling because contractors started working 10 minutes before 8 a.m. and the city ordinance is 8 a.m. and the police come. You got to meet them. I mean, it is absolute chaos. It's probably easier to learn how to fly a 747 than to rehab a house. Yep. However, if you have the right people, if you know what you're doing, it can be an amazing way to invest in real estate, create generational wealth, and through all of this process, thank God for you, Dru, because you've been handling my past few transactions, and you guys are amazing. Your team is amazing. You guys just make everything so easy. And if anyone out there in the Chicagoland area is needing to buy or sell real estate, I would highly encourage you to reach out to Dru. Him and his team are amazing. They just walk you through everything. And
I appreciate
and are
that.
inspiring through the whole process.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's kind of our mantra. We're, inspiring people, inspiring community. It's really what we do. And literally the realities of nobody knows what we do. Nobody knows the intricacies of what title companies are. So that's where we just we'll take you by the hand. We'll walk you through this thing. Having done this in both Illinois and Indiana, we're licensed in both states. It allows, and they're both very different, because in Illinois, the attorneys drive where these deals go. In Indiana, it's about the realtors. The realtors determine where the deals go. So it is very different to having to know both different sides of it. But I enjoy it, and it's something that a lot of people know about it. I mean, I don't often go to parties and go, "Hey, I'm the title guy." Woohoo! Like, nobody cares. I'm the guy sitting in the corner going, "What do you do?" I'm just a title guy, But that's why I got into the development, and that's why I do some investing as well. And it's having a couple different businesses. It's coaching kids. It's like mentoring people. Like, it's just creating that life that you want to live and giving back to the people that are around, man. It's just, that's what I mean. I do this every day so I can give it back. And my team so stands behind that. My goal, and I think I'm going to reach it next year. My goal is to take some of our gains and proceeds and do a Habitat for Humanities and build a house for a family in need. And that, because the whole development side of me is I'm passionate about that. I grew up doing development, as that was my first job, and I love construction, and I know it, but I really want to do that and get into the whole, financial world of, supporting the Habitat for Humanity and really getting involved in that. I'm really excited about some of those opportunities to, give back. And we do it all year long. Every month we have a give back that Inspired Title does, or Inspired Business does. We do, we just did a Feed My Starving Children. We're giving blood next month. We're like, every month we are giving to the community, because I can't sit still, dude. I gotta go.
Life is too short.
I gotta go, man.
Too much to do, not enough hours in the day.
Like, Colin, are we done? Because I gotta go.
Well, we're not done quite just yet, because I just want to ask you just a couple more questions about real estate. For anyone out there who's interested about getting into real estate investing, what advice would you give?
So there's a lot of different facets of what you just said. A realtor, there's real estate investments where you're buying, your those houses that you can flip. Mm-hmm. There's the other side of it where people are renting, so they're buying and holding. So people saying I'm a real estate investor is broad. Then they typically will break themselves down into, an aspect or two that they really specialize in. I do a lot of rehab. You've done a lot of rehab. I have never gotten to the buy and hold. I don't want to play landlord. It's not something that I've ever really aspired to do. So right now, though, we just came out of this whole COVID market where there was no inventory. Nothing was around. So the market was crazy. Mm-hmm. People were having a hard time, finding a house to buy. And then when they were overpaying for some of these houses, now that's kind of trickling back down and leveling out. I found some consistency in the development world. I found consistency in the remodel world. There's a lot of that because people are unsettled. They're uncertain. But then there's this huge migration out to Northwest Indiana. And I said, it's going to be Crook County in there too. We're going to bring ourselves out there and we're going to muddy that up because it's just going to happen. And so, that's what inspired me to get licensed in Indiana, is to get ahead of the curve, because I watched this whole transition of going, nobody wants to pay the taxes. Nobody wants to deal with all the BS that's going on in the city. What'd they do? They said, well, I can buy a $300,000 or $400,000 house in Indiana. And oh my gosh, I get so much more. The taxes are $1. It's crazy. I just built a 3,000 square foot house, and we sold it. It's beautiful.
In Indiana?
In Indiana, in Winfield, Indiana, and which is right by Crown Point. And I think we sold it for like $380,000. The taxes are $2,300. Who does that? Yeah. Bye. I'm out of here. I'm going to Indiana. I got to leave now. What? So now my wife is going, hey, we're going to go to Indiana, right? Yeah. Right. Yes, we are. Yes. Why would we stay? So it's really getting ahead of the market. It's really finding out what and paying attention to, that
trends,
ups and
where
downs of
people
the trend.
moving,
Right.
projecting where property values are going to continue
doubt.
to rise. And so, I do rehabbing in the south side of Chicago. I own a couple of rental properties, and some of these neighborhoods are just underserved, not a whole lot of commercial development down there. Have you ever done anything down there? And do you have any suggestions on that? That's the $1 million question here in Chicago is down on the south side. There's a lot of just underserved communities.
Yeah.
Do you see, like, as a developer, would you think that there's opportunity to go down to the south side to try injecting some capital down there to start trying to create some commercial opportunity to create more jobs?
Man,
that is just, that's
a great
question,
that
Colin.
It is the
$1 million question.
It is the elephant that's in the room. There's so many people that are afraid of it. There's so many people that are scared of what does that look like. There's a handful of people that are doing this in Gary, and in Gary, Indiana is definitely a rough, really kind of a neighborhood that needs a little TLC and love. And there's some uptick to what's going on out there. I've been fortunate enough to partner with a couple people where we're starting to do some Inglewood development. We're starting to do some inner city work, and I'll let you know. I'd love to come back and tell you, because that is a project that I've just started to embark on that, and I'm excited about it because there's a lot of need, and I think the resource. Our goal is not to gentrify. Our goal is to kind of re-educate. And that's literally what we're doing. We're getting these folks kind of credit worthy again. We're building affordable stuff. It's not like we're putting up a price tag on it that drives them away.
Right.
So the reality is what is that niche? What does that market look like? So I'm starting to do it. I've got a couple projects that I'm going to be taking on in Inglewood here in 22. My development team we've got a 13 unit building we're going to be rehabbing. Wow. I've got a vacant lot that we're going to probably build on. We're waiting to see what happens with that. But we've had the wonderful luck of having some good relationships with, like, Cook County Land Bank, where some of these, they're helping with the taxes and things like that, because that's important, because these taxes have never been paid. And, so a lot of that stuff is relation based, Colin. So it's hard, man. It's hard, but don't, just because it's hard, don't do it. That's not, this guy would never say don't do it because it's hard.
Right.
That would never come out of my face.
Yeah.
But,
well,
give it a whirl, man.
Yeah, there's definitely some efforts down there, which is great to see. Whole Foods, they put in a Whole Foods down in Inglewood, and what's great about the model that they created down there was that they reduced the price points. Whole Foods is the nickname for Whole Foods is whole paycheck.
Yeah, right.
Because it's quality organic food,
right,
but the price points are really high. What they did was, down in Inglewood, they actually reduced the price points of the food down there so that the residents in this area could afford fresh food. Because in the south side of Chicago, there's food deserts where literally you can't get fresh vegetables, fresh fruit. And so that's essentially the problem that's going on down there.
We're just trying to jumpstart it, man. And literally jumpstarting that area is nothing more than giving it a shot. And literally getting in there and getting your hands dirty and going after it. And I'm willing to take that on and give that a shot. I'm not thinking I'm going to be the next Pied Piper and I'm going to be the success story in Chicago, but I'm really, if I can make a difference in a couple people's lives, I've done my job. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, Drew, you've made a big difference in my life and so many other people's lives. And now I'm sure you have a ton of brand new fans. I've seen a lot of people saying that they can't wait to read your book. Again, it's called The 2 Hour Difference. And before we check out here, I want to ask you some questions. Obviously, as an actor, I love Hollywood. Love to talk about movies.
Wait, I have to put on my acting hat now. Hold on.
Yeah. Right. So, Drew, you actually got to be in A Christmas Witness. So I'm not sure. Like, I think I saw like maybe the side of your face.
Yeah, I was
like.
Carol's in it. You got the blur of me. Carol's in the front part, playing the chef and everything. And she wasn't even supposed to be in it. She wasn't even invited, darn it. But I'm glad it was great. She loved it. I'm so thankful that you even, thought of me to do this, dude. I'm all in. Anything you want, anything you need, I'm there for you.
Awesome. Well, what I need from you
Okay,
are
here we go.
the answers to these six questions. And this part of the show is brought to you by Picticular. This is an app that my good friend Todd created.
Okay.
It allows you to be able to search any actor or any movie and then find out where you can watch it. Because people ask me all the time, "Hey, Colin," I'll say like, "Yeah, I've got this movie," and they're like, "Oh, well, where can I watch it?" And as an actor, I'm not in the distribution game. I'm not the producer. So this is a great way. You download the Picticular app and then you type in like something borrowed. Boom, it pops up and it'll show you where it is available, because sometimes it's available on Netflix, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's available on Apple TV or Amazon Prime. You never know until like you go, and sometimes you got to search forever to get to find some of this stuff. So Picticular makes it super easy. So make sure everyone out there download Picticular. And here we go. You ready for
I'm
for me
feeling
to ask you?
particularly comfortable right now.
Yeah, well, this is going to be easy.
All right.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
Of all time, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Amazing.
I love it.
Amazing. Yes. One of my guests a couple of weeks ago just mentioned that very movie. Actually, last week, I think it was Alexander.
Classic.
Yes. Yeah. What do you love about it?
I mean, just the interact. John Candy absolutely slays me in that movie. I mean, Del Griffith as the shower curtain ring guy. Come on, the Seiko on the watch. I mean, I know the movie inside and out. It's a close running between that and Ferris Bueller, because I was Ferris Bueller as a kid. However, I'm going to push it up. Push it up. I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Second question is, what was your favorite movie when you were growing up?
Oh, definitely Ferris Bueller.
Oh, Ferris Bueller. Okay.
Definitely.
Awesome.
I went ahead. I'm thinking ahead, Colin. I got to go. Let's go.
I love it. Bueller.
Fry.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You're Abe Froman, the sausage king of Chicago.
Yeah. Yes, I am. Abe Froman.
Okay, great. What is your favorite romantic comedy besides Something Borrowed?
Yeah, I didn't think of that one. Wedding Crashers.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess you could consider that a romantic.
It's a very romantic comedy. They ended up, there was marriage in there.
Yeah,
about marriage.
yeah.
Don't talk to me, Colin.
Yeah, that's great. Is there a movie that you are embarrassed to say you like?
Bring It On.
Bring It On?
All the cheerleader movies.
Cheerleader movies? Yes.
Yes, I'm so weird. My daughter, she actually texts me and goes, "Dad, Bring It On again. It's on TNT. Dad, it's on."
Awesome.
Yes, that's
awesome.
Real. I'm transparent.
Amazing. I love it. Who's your favorite actor?
Male or female?
We're going to get to male actor
and then actor, not actress.
And then actress.
Will Ferrell.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Absolutely love him. What's your favorite Will Ferrell movie?
All of them. I mean, yeah, I loved him most probably on Saturday Night Live. Just some of the skits he did on SNL. He was pretty great.
Awesome. Yeah. And favorite actress?
Jennifer Aniston.
All right.
Love Jennifer Aniston. I loved her in the movies, and I also love her because Carol loves her too. But she's my age, so she's like, I watch her age, and I kind of try to keep up. So I'm competing. That's all.
Okay. Well, I would say you're doing a great job, Drew.
Thanks, buddy.
Awesome to have you here. Thanks for your time and your energy, your inspiration. One last thing I would like to ask you is, you do so much for so many other people. You're an amazing guy. Other than the things that we mentioned, what inspires you?
Really, really deeply feel touched and connected to giving without expectation. I think what inspires me the most is to actually just give and turn your back. And if you get a thanks, if you get a reply, I didn't do it for that. I just did it. And that's really what inspires me. The impact that you make on somebody else And sometimes it's just the unspoken word. You don't know how you've impacted somebody until you've really spent time with them. And that for me is very inspirational.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I appreciate you, and I love what you're doing, and I can't wait to keep following you and see what great things you keep doing, buddy. You just keep doing it, man.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I can't wait till we're making another movie together.
Oh, maybe I won't be blurred out. That would be great.
All right, my friend. Great to see you. Have a great rest of your night.
You too. Take care. Thanks for having me. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Man, another amazing episode, right, guys? So great to talk to Dru. Again, if you are in the Chicagoland area and need any help with your real estate needs regarding buying or selling, Dru and his team are amazing at Inspired Title Group. They've helped me out, and I've used them for all of my real estate transactions over the past couple of years, and absolutely love talking to him about his book. I love his phrase is, today is the worst you're going to be. Wouldn't you absolutely love to have him as your coach? I think I'd probably be like his son, where I'd say, you are the biggest jerk who you are the, what was it? You are the biggest jerk. That is, what was it, Dru? Type it in the chat. Anyway, I'm going to just have to rewatch this, but I think I would love to have Dru as one of my coaches, and as someone who loves sports and grew up playing football and baseball, I had a lot of really amazing coaches. And as Dru mentioned, it was playing sports that really helped me truly understand the importance of making a commitment to a goal, and then having a team to work with to support you along the way, so that when you fall down, you've got your teammates to pick you up and to carry you along the way, and have something to just strive for. Because when you have a goal, when you have something that you're excited about, you strive for it through all of those challenges, you actually elevate who you are. You start to grow, you start to learn new things, you learn new insights. And a lot of people wish things were easier. Jim Rohn talks about how wish you were better. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And that is what Dru obviously stands for. And that is exactly what the Inspire brand is all about, and that we're trying to pump out here. We are 2 weeks into our Inspire 6-week goal setting course. We've had an amazing past couple of weeks. And anyone out there who is interested in joining our next session, please shoot me an email, info@colinegglesfield.com. This is a life-changing course that I promise you will make a huge difference in all areas of your life. And can't wait to have you join us in the next one. In the meantime, we are going to be doing some more fun and awesome things on Patreon. This week we have our Hour of Empower. We did our Cooking with Colin this last weekend. And if you want to join us, we've got a great, awesome group of people. We jump on and we do all kinds of amazing, fun things. So if you're looking to join an amazing community of people and do some great things, some fun things, by all means, go on Patreon and look it up. All right. Thanks for being here tonight. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys all next Monday. Take care.